Okay, great. Thanks so much, Lana. And thanks everyone for joining us today. Yeah, we're going to talk about annuities. As Lana mentioned, not a very exciting, quote unquote, sexy product, but it's a product that's been available to Canadians, anyways, for around 2,000 years. And they've basically withstood the test of time. Now, according to LIMRA, the Life Insurance and Market Research Association, last year Canadians purchased well over $1 billion in annuities. Now, you rarely hear anything about them, especially in financial media outlets. That's because, as I said earlier, annuities are a simple, guaranteed investment insurance product. They're increasing in popularity, especially for seniors who need a guaranteed income they can never outlive. Okay, so what is an annuity? Simply put, an annuity is a guaranteed and steady stream of income payments you receive in exchange for a lump sum of cash. And most annuities are purchased by retirees or soon to be retirees. They have a distinct tax advantage if purchased with non registered money. Now, this is going to be the main focus of discussion today. It's going to be about non registered annuities. Since there's a new tax bill coming out, Bill C-43, and that's going to come into effect on January the 1st, 2017. And that's going to affect the taxation of non-registered annuities. Now, in the past, when I've done some of these presentations, people are asking me, what's the difference between a registered annuity and a non-registered annuity? Okay, simply, registered money is money in your RSP, in your RIF, in your pension plans. You receive a tax break for that. The money is growing tax deferred. You're getting compound growth in that plan. Once you take the money out of your registered plan, say a RIF or a pension plan, then it's going to be fully taxable. Now, non-registered money is just basically money that you've already paid tax on. It's sitting in your account, in your investment, in your portfolio, and you're purchasing an annuity with that money. So it's not registered money, and that money has a great tax advantage for non-registered annuities. If you purchase an annuity through your RIF or your RSP, that's going to be fully taxable. Now, if I have time later on in this presentation, I'm going to look at that. But right now, I'm going to focus on the non-registered portion. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so how long will your retirement last? Canadians, well, we're getting better health care. Well, that could be debatable on the education part, but anyways, we're spending less time in the workforce, and some of us are living 30 to 40 years in retirement. So we just want to make sure your retirement savings are going to last. And let's take a look at the products available out there today. And there's a whole range of them. Stocks, bonds, drips, real estate, all of them have their place in investments, that's for sure, and retirement. Now, we're going to focus today on annuities. Now, I have here approximately 35% available to annuitize. You should always have cash on hand for any other opportunities. Basically, I usually say 25%. If you're looking to purchase an annuity, I wouldn't go above 25% of your whole portfolio because you are giving up a lump sum of cash and it can never be used again. And in return, you're going to get an income for life. 35% is a possibility, but that's with someone who has a high amount of assets. So I would just basically say don't go above 25%. Now, who should consider an annuity? People needing or wanting a guaranteed income stream, people nearing retirement, early retirees wanting more income until their OAS begins. Some people buy something called a term certain annuity. They pay themselves for 10 years, age 55 to 65. And then after that, the annuity income stops and then their old age security kicks in. Okay, that's always an option. Retirees with limited personal financial management experience, people who are estate planning and want to reduce estate taxes. You need a desired income, guaranteed income for life. And, even for someone who advises and manages finances for the elderly. And most importantly, anyone concerned about outliving their retirement savings. Now, each company calculates their own annuity rates. And this is the criteria they use. So they look at the amount of money you're going to use to buy the annuity. Then they look and see which type of annuity you want. And then they look at current interest rates. And yes, interest rates are low right now, so annuity rates are not that great. And then gender, they look at your gender. Now, for once men win. The reason I say that is most insurance products, usually women win. I know car insurance they do, life insurance they definitely do, but men win here with annuities because on average our lifespan is a little shorter than females. But sorry ladies, you are catching up to us. But right now we do have a shorter lifespan, so we're going to get more money for our annuity. Then they look at your ages. And if it's a joint annuity, that means the lives of two people. They look at both of your ages. They also look at current long-term bond rates. This is more important than short-term interest rates. And then they look at the mortality expense and the experience of the company. So these are basically the main factors they're looking at in order to price an annuity. Okay, so let's look at the types of annuities out there. Three basic types. There's a single life annuity. That annuity is payable to one person for the rest of their life. Okay, as long as you live, they're going to pay you that money, your income. Joint annuity, that's based on two lives, usually for a husband and a wife or two spouses. And a joint annuity basically works like this. You give the insurance company a check, a lump sum of cash. In return, they're going to pay the husband or the wife or the spouse a certain amount every month. If that person dies, then they're going to continue that payment to their spouse for the rest of their life. Okay, that's a joint annuity. Term certain annuity is basically an annuity for a certain amount of time. So you can give an insurance company $100,000, and then after 10 years, they'll give you an income for the 10 years, then after 10 years, that's it, it's done. Okay, and as I mentioned, that one sometimes is used to bridge an annuity income before you get your old age security and your CPP. Some people do that. I'll get into that a little later. Now, here's some annuity options you have. I'm going to get into guaranteed terms in more detail later, but basically, you can put on an annuity that they're going to pay you for the rest of your life, but if you should die within a certain time, then they will guarantee that payment to someone else. Indexing is an option. That's inflation. So you can purchase annuity that's inflation protected. Prescribed annuity. This is a preferential tax treatment, basically meaning that you're going to know exactly the amount of taxes you're going to pay each and every year. Then you have a deferred annuity. This is something where you can purchase the annuity today and have your payment stretched out for 10 years. Like you can get your first payment 10 years later on. You're going to get a higher income from that annuity. However, because it's being stretched for 10 years, you will be taxed annually even though you haven't received any income. Okay, that is going to be called accrual taxation. It's different than prescribed taxation. And I'll show you a chart on that in the next slide. You can also get an impaired annuity. What that means is if your health is not good, you can send a doctor's form to an insurance carrier in Canada, and they'll look at it, and if they think that your life expectancy will decrease, they may increase the amount of income payments that you will receive. Now, don't get your hopes too high on this stuff. They do look at this carefully, but what I've noticed is the difference in an impaired annuity and a regular annuity might not be so high. I think the best thing to do is shop the market to see who's got the best rates. However, it's always a good idea if you think that your health is not 100%, it's always a good idea to submit an impaired annuity form just to see if they come and give us a better rate. And then there's something called the cash refund guarantees. A lot of people don't know about this part, but you can purchase an annuity and let me give you an example. You can purchase an annuity. Let's say you purchase an annuity and you give the company $100,000 and they're going to pay you for the rest of your life. And let's say that amount is $500 a month. Now, let's say that you've taken 5 years of income and let's say that you've used $50,000 of that $100,000 annuity. Well, the remaining 50 that you did not use can go to your beneficiary. Okay. Now, if you take some of these options like cash refund, indexing, and so on, you will receive less of an annuity income because that's basically they're guaranteeing that they have to give you back your principal. Now let's look at prescribed and accrual taxation. Now let me go back. This is for non-registered annuities. So this is basically money in your bank account or any money that you have. You liquidated a home, a property, it's sitting in your account, and you decide to purchase an annuity. This is the difference between prescribed and accrual taxation. Now, let's say somebody purchased a term certain for 10 years and it's $100,000 single deposit. Let's say the payments were $11,565. This is not up to date in terms of income. This is just showing the difference between prescribed and accrual taxation. As you can see, the prescribed chart, it shows the exact amount of tax you will pay every year for the 10 years. Accrual is different. It's going to start high in the beginning because most of your payments will be interest income, and then it reduces significantly. But in the end, you're going to be paying the same amount of tax. However, with the prescribed taxation, your tax rate is a little lower in the beginning because of interest payments can be spread out for the remainder of the contract. And I'm going to show you some more differences between the two. So let's look at a prescribed annuity. What's the advantage? Well, this is good for people who are looking to maximize their income early on. So it gives you a fixed income amount, the same amount of taxes paid each year, and offers potential preferential tax treatment using non-registered funds. Okay, so that's the advantage with the prescribed. The disadvantage is you cannot index it. So if you wanted an inflation-protected annuity, you can't do that with a prescribed annuity. You'll have to get an annuity on an accrual taxation basis. Okay, let's look at an advantage of a non-prescribed, an indexed annuity, which is accrual annuity. Now, it's good for people who are looking to keep up with inflation and have increased income amounts, excuse me, paid to them each year. So guaranteed income to keep up with potential cost of living increases, spending power remains steady, indexing, which is inflation option, available anywhere from 0.5 to 4 to 6% to help keep up with inflation and increase annuity payments each year. The disadvantage is you're going to receive less income early on because most of it is going to be taxed, as we saw in the first chart. And as I mentioned, greater taxes paid in the early years. Now, here's an excellent comparison. This is pretty up to date. So we're going to look at, these are real numbers now, and this is going to give you a good idea of what I've been talking about for the last 15 minutes. So we're going to compare a prescribed annuity to an indexed, inflation-protected annuity, which will be taxed on an accrual basis. So we have a 65-year-old male. Now he's going to invest $500,000 into an annuity, and he's going to receive an annual income for life. This annuity has no guarantee period. That basically means that if this person passed away, then the annuity stops. That's it. Income doesn't go to anyone else. Okay? So let's take a look at if it's no inflation protection, so it's basically a prescribed annuity, that person is going to receive $31,770 per year in income. Okay, you see that? Now, if it's 2% inflation, you can add this. He's going to start out lower at $25,502. It's going to take 11 years to reach $31,770. If you take a 3% inflation protection annuity, it's going to start even lower at $22,877, and it's also going to take 11 years to reach the $31,770. Now, most people I know don't bother with inflation protected annuities. They would rather take the highest amount of income they can get, and they believe that other investments, maybe some stock market investments, some dividend reinvestment plans, are better protectors for inflation than an annuity, and I tend to agree with a lot of that. However, there are people who do want annuity inflation protection, and that's fine, but you will win on this if you live a long time. That's basically how it goes. So the longer you live, the better off you're going to be with an annuity. Okay, let's look at some of the rates today. Okay, so I wanted to share some rates out there with everyone, and this is where I'm going to get into the guarantee. I promised you I was going to explain that and how that worked. So once again, I have a male. Don't worry, ladies, I have some for you that's coming up soon. I have a male age 70, and he just gave us $1 million, and he wants a single life annuity, and he says, I want this money for the rest of my life. So we shop the market, we look to see who's got the best rates, and for a zero guarantee, which basically means that if he passed away in a month or 2 or 3 after any time after his first payment, that $1 million goes to the insurance company. However, if he lives a long time or he lives for as long as he can, he's going to get $71,266 a year, and he's going to get that income tax-free. This is a prescribed annuity. If he decided he wanted a 10-year guarantee, okay, what does that mean? So let's say they're going to pay him for life. These are all life payments, okay? So they're going to pay him for the rest of their life. However, he's attaching a guarantee. What that means is from age 70 to 80, if he passed away anytime between that time, so let's say he passed away, say 75. Now, they would accumulate the last 5 years of payments and pay that out to his beneficiary, or they could just simply continue 5 more years of payments for the beneficiary of $70,438. Then as you see, the longer the guarantee you have, the less amount of income you're going to receive. And that's simple because the insurance company has to guarantee those payments for those years. So if we look at a 20-year guarantee, if the 70-year-old male does not reach 90 years of age, let's say he passes away at age 80, then 10 years after that, they're going to keep paying his beneficiary another 10 years of annuity payments of $62,000 per year. And then after that, it will stop. Now, if we look, I will get to the cash refund and joint later. Let's look at the right side of the tax chart. Zero guarantee is tax-free. Then the tax increases the higher guarantee you have. This taxable amount is the T5 annuity they will send you every year. Now, this is not the tax you pay, it's the amount of income you made on the annuity. So basically, the tax you're going to pay is going to be based on your marginal tax rate. If you're in a high marginal tax rate, let's say you're up at 50%, well, then basically you'll pay half of that in tax. If you're a lot lower, as most seniors are, you'll pay minimal tax, maybe about $2,000 to $3,000, once again, depending on your marginal tax rate. Okay, let's look at the cash refund option. So from $71,000, it drops to $61,461. And this one, as I mentioned earlier, if something should happen to the annuitant, the person who bought the annuitant, and they have not depleted $1 million in payments, then the beneficiary will be refunded the remainder. I'll give you an example. Let's say that the annuity has paid out this gentleman $800,000 in total. Well, there's still another $200,000 remaining. On his death, they will pay his beneficiary that amount. Okay, then we have a joint life annuity. This is for 2 lives, as I mentioned, spouses, 2 spouses. And so you go from $71,000 a year and you're down to $56,000 a year. The spouse is the same age. I made her at 70 years of age. And how it works is basically they will pay this gentleman $56,000 a year and $55 a year. Once he passes away, they will continue those payments to his spouse for the rest of her life. Okay? And you can do this vice versa. Let's say the spouse buys the plan and she passes away, she predeceases her husband, then he's going to receive this income for the rest of his life. So they must pay 2 people. They're going to pay one person, and then the other person passes away, they will pay them for the rest of their life. And the taxable portion on that is about $5,510. I ran these rates, I would say, about 3 weeks ago on my last seminar. They haven't moved much, so they're pretty constant here. Now I have Bill C-43 on the bottom. We'll talk about that in a second. So Bill C-43, that's going to take effect in January, is not going to affect this area here, the income. Okay, that's going to stay pretty consistent. What it is going to affect is the tax payable on non-registered annuities.